Get in the ring with DJ D.
Yes, it is. It's time to get in the ring with your host, DJ D. Kooks, here on a rainy Thursday morning. What am I saying? Thursday morning. And unfortunately, Beast Mike can't join me in person, but he's on the phone.
Yeah, I'm sure you're... I guess you realized it was Friday because we did a show last Friday. But yeah, it is a dreary, windy, and yeah, it's going to be rainy. Thursday, October. I can't believe we're close to the end of October already. Thursday, October 27, 2016. Not much really to get to per se. I mean, this is a good amount of stuff to really dive into.
Oh, yeah, there is. We have the TNA debacle.
Right, that too. Right.
We have the Evolve, the FloSports deal, which...
Yeah, that was another big story.
We have... Oh, I need an HTML reader.
Then we have the Go Home Show for Raw.
Before Hell in a Cell, yes.
Before Hell in a Cell. It's the Dusty Rhodes Tournament on NXT. And SmackDown continues to try to fill out their Survivor Series teams while Raw prepares for Hell in a Cell in Boston.
So, we have all that today. And we are going to start with TNA.
Yep.
Because this news broke yesterday, and it's taken the wrestling world by storm. As I take a drink, I was like putting stuff in the BSI before my show, actually. Putting in some wrestling themes for our wrestling playlist that we have. But I have the Observer up, and the battle for power and to survive by TNA continued this past week after Anthem Sports and Entertainment, the parent company of Toronto-based Fight Network, agreed to fund the promotion.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the cover story of the Observer this week. Great work has been done by both Dave Meltzer and I'm going to pull up his name on Twitter because I retweeted the story he had about this situation. I'm just pulling it up right now. But really, it's a cluster.
Yep.
What were your impressions of the story yesterday and of the hearing yesterday and Twitter going crazy? What were your impressions?
My thought being, I mean, this is like par for the course for TNA, as they dealt with chaos and mayhem over the power structure and the power, the power structure of the company over the last, 2 years?
Yep.
2-3 years? Yeah.
Because TNA just keeps giving away little by little ownership of every little thing. It's not like you have here where TNA, it's a really weird story. It has lots of twists and turns. I'm going to read you the story from Nate Rao. This is the initial story that Nate Rao put in the Tennessean. Billy Corgan, TNA savior or loan shark? So I'm going to send you the link right now to this story. And this is actually, let's go to the hearing. Let's play this clip from the Tennessean. They're walking in.
Here with Michael O'Neill on behalf of William Corgan, the plaintiff in this lawsuit.
This is Scott Sims, the lawyer of Billy Corgan.
Move straight to the argument. The defendants have really tried to put the spin on the situation here. They tried to paint Mr. Corgan as a predatory lender who's trying to do some sort of underhanded grab for power in this lawsuit, and the facts couldn't be further from the truth. The fact is that Mr. Corgan provided substantial capital to Impact Ventures into a situation fraught with risk, and he saved the company on 3 occasions. And that's confirmed by an email from Mr. Broadhead in which he explicitly states all would have been lost without the Corgan money. In exchange for that, normally and reasonably, he received certain security and certain inducements in order to enter into that fray. The first one was a role as president. Mr. Corgan had lost faith in the current day-to-day management of the company, and he believed that if he could control the day-to-day operations as the president, that he could turn the situation around. And if he was going to put substantial additional capital over the first 2 tranches of capital that he put in, he wanted and required that position. The second,
Mr. Corgan loaned money to the company. He's a creditor. He's not an owner.
This is Travis Parham, the TNA lawyer.
The pledge agreement and the note, both dated August 11th. The pledge agreement serves a singular purpose. It secures payment under the note. The note and the pledge agreement are debt instruments. That's what this case is really about at its heart. It's a debt. It's about money. And that's the reason why the court should deny this motion. If a party can be made whole with money, there is no irreparable harm. And it doesn't matter the amount of money that we're talking about. So is maybe you owe me X, maybe you owe me Y. We've told you what we think we really owe him. But for purposes of irreparable harm, it doesn't matter if it's number D or number D plus E. It's still money, whether it's $1 or $1 million or $100 million. It's not irreparable harm.
And that was from the Tennessee, and Nate Rowell wrote the story. That's the video by Shelley Mays. Just giving credit where credit is due. So I will read you the story. Billy Corgan is either a white knight who kept TNA alive when it couldn't afford to tape a new episodes of its weekly program, or a predatory loan shark who embarked on diabolical scheme to take control of the Nashville-based promotion. Those opposing views offered up by the lawyers in the Nashville courtroom on Wednesday in the lawsuit pitting Corgan against TNA and chairwoman of its board, Dixie Carter. Corgan is best known as the frontman of Smashing Pumpkins, but he invested and helped run wrestling promotions and began at TNA in 2015. Carter, who, unlike Corgan, was in the courtroom on Wednesday and had run TNA for several years. The hearing played out like an intriguing professional wrestling match with control of company hanging in the balance. That's a great line right there.
It sure is. That's the right way to put it, too.
Yes.
That's the right way to put it, considering how both people are incredibly headstrong about where they think the company should go and who they think the company should be controlled by. That's a perfect way to summarize this.
There is more to this story. Corgan's attorney, Scott Sims, argued that his clients staved off creditors and gave TNA the cash flow it needed to pay for productions on 2 occasions in 2016, the 2 productions we know of.
Right.
As a part of the loan deals, Corgan rose to title as president, but wasn't given operating control of TNA. For the third loan, Corgan entered a loan agreement with Carter in which he would gain her board of directors voting rights 92.5% if the company became insolvent, which means gone. In court on Wednesday, Sims argued that TNA was insolvent and fails the cash flow test because it can't pay its bills.
Right.
Well.
Yeah, no, it's they were in debt. We might have mentioned this before on a previous show. They were in debt to several states.
And the Observer has more on this, so I'll read some of the Observer top story after we're done reading this. There are 2 legal questions in front of Chancellor Eileen Hobbs-Lyle, who is considering whether to grant temporary injunction that would effectively grant control of TNA to Corgan. The first is whether such a loan agreement is legal under Tennessee law, which is... The second is whether TNA is insolvent. Travis Parham, the attorney for TNA, claimed that such loan agreements are not legal, and therefore the question of insolvency is moot. Parham argued that Corgan held TNA and Carter over the barrel in order to get access to cash he was offering. He said Corgan offered lending terms that would make a loan shark blush. Financial details of the lawsuit has been redacted under Hobbs-Lyle orders. The attorneys carefully did not cite dollar figures or other details in court, but the Observer has them. This is why wrestling's weird.
Yeah, really.
Parham also argued that even if Corgan's loan agreement with Carter is legal, that TNA is not insolvent. Well, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Has anyone seen the figures of TNA being insolvent? I think it's pretty insolvent. I think it hasn't made a profit in the 12 years.
It's dying a very painful, slow death, I think TNA is. And probably needs to be in the control of Corgan. I think is the point we're really coming up with here.
He said the company is facing a long-anticipated cash flow problem, but has felt lucrative offers to be sold. The WWE, the world's largest wrestling promotion in the world, is among those that made these offers. Anthem, a Toronto-based company who owns licensing right to TNA's lucrative video library, through an attorney on Wednesday, is willing to pay off Corgan's loan minus the transaction fee he says is due. Anthem is a senior creditor of TNA and a member of the ownership group, like everyone else who is a member of the ownership group.
Right.
Hobbs-Lyle says she will issue her opinion on Monday. If Corgan wins, he'll take the reins of TNA. If he loses, it's most likely that he will pursue other legal battles and face the prospect of his loan paid off with interest. Corgan's able to convert the debt he is owed to equity in the company, which is up to 36%. And that's the end of that story.
It's a mess. The general point of all this is a huge mess. And this company cannot survive. Not that it's going to truly survive anyway. This company can't survive or will be in even worse shape for as long as this mess goes.
Yes.
If Corgan does not win this on Monday, they're in even more trouble than we think they are.
Oh, yeah. If Corgan wins this... If Corgan wins...
It's pretty much done.
Yeah.
There's not much Dixie can do if Corgan wins on Monday. If he loses Monday, then Dixie's going to keep fighting.
This is the best TNA pro wrestling building years.
No kidding.
No kidding.
Like if they can work this out as like a storyline.
Oh wow.
All the better.
So much better. It is when TNA is not in the news, not out of our way, but we have some numbers here that will. Corgan's legal team stated that the agreement on the latest loan from Anthem believed to be for $1.8 million, but those numbers are not exact because the court documents are sealed. Is that Anthem would end up with 85% of the company. Aerolux would become 10% owners, and Jason Brown of Aerolux would take over as CEO, this is from The Observer, and run the day-to-day operations and receive a 3-year contract. So Carter, it would not be clear who would own the other 5% of the company, but Carter would make the most sense. That they entered into an agreement without his knowledge, so his loan allowed him to get 38% of ownership in the company should he request it. In documentation, it has become clear that TNA outright told Corgan they were not selling to WWE. And Carter told wrestlers that they were not selling to either the company or the tape library to WWE. That they were in the middle of negotiations to sell to WWE at the time.
Yep, and pretty much did the sale a couple weeks ago.
Yes. In documentation... Oh, I already read that line. Corgan said that nobody in Impact Venture informed him with any information regarding the talks with WWE or any information regarding the deals with Anthem until after the Anthem deal was closed. That sounds a little shady.
So does.
If he owns 38% of the company and he doesn't know about a ownership deal, that sounds shady.
It was a backroom deal done, and it wasn't Corgan's doing. It seems to me that it's an arms race to see who can make a deal first with whomever would be the highest bidder. I think it seems to be both sides of this story here, which we Dixie and Billy. Like, whoever can get the deal done first probably wins this particular race.
He also claimed that on 9/26 he was told that reports that TNA was in talks with WWE were, quote, absolutely not true. But since found out on 9/25, the day before, that Broadhead had sent a WWE representative certain due diligence material that the company had requested. They're getting caught red-handed.
Sure.
Material also showed that WWE questioned Carter about Corrigan's loan to the company. Carter responded in writing to them saying, I intend to pay the loan back in full, plus interest, prior to selling the company. Where's the dun-dun-dun here? I want to read that line again.
And run that back one time. Run it back for the people one time. There's something wrong with that line.
There's something wrong with that line, so here we go. So, material showed in WWE in question about Corrigan's loan to the company. Carter responded in writing to them, I intend to pay the loan back in full, plus interest, prior to selling the company. Prior to selling the company.
There it is.
There it is. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So I'm just wondering, how would she even do that, considering the situation they have, she probably has financially. I'm just wondering how she would even pull that off.
It is so weird.
Yeah.
They're saying the WWE offer was being $6 million or less. Tim's mentioned in one of the notes owed to Corrigan was for $1.8 million, the number we mentioned earlier.
Right.
Corrigan is suing Impact Ventures as a new company that used to be TNA Entertainment LLC with the majority owner Dixie Carter Salinas and her husband Serge Salinas and Chief Financial Officer Dean Broadhead. Debt that we are aware of, this is earlier in the story, I'm going a little out of order, would be in excess of $4.7 million.
Ooh.
This story is awesome. They're going
really
down
is.
in a blaze of glory.
You're not kidding. This is.
Which
I take back my words of it being a slow, painful death. This is very much. This is like a celebrity death.
This is agonizing death.
This is torture. This has got to be torture.
This is torture. Which would be debt to Aerolux, Anthem, and 3 other entities that recently filed lawsuits against the company for failing to pay them as agreed to. Bank Capital Finance LLC, American Express, and Audience One Productions.
In other words,
that number does not include Corrigan, and there are likely other debtors who have not filed suit. One of those which ended up being named in the court papers, so the actual number significantly is higher.
So not only is this a torturous death, this is a body count that's happening right now. Is what we're talking here.
They're basically saying we want our money.
Yep.
And this is ridiculous.
This is bizarre.
We're spending the first 20 minutes of the show on it because this is utterly ridiculous. If any other company did the crap that TNA did, I almost said the other word.
Yep.
They get shut down.
It'd be a wrap. But this is the thing that's keeping TNA alive in public conscience. Like, other than the Hardys, like, what else is really keeping them alive? Otherwise, actually even in the ring. So it's
out of the ring. It's a disaster. You can read the whole story in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. I just put out quotes that are interesting. The Bank Direct is $207,612.29 owed.
Yep.
The Bank of America, the American Express one, Bank Direct is $400,146. TNA promised to make 10 monthly payments of $41,032.45.
They can't even do that.
They were late. The loan agreement spelled out late charges of 5% if the payment was received in 10 days. TNA did pay back $192,071. In addition, Bruce Pritchard, who was the company's vice president of talent relations from 2010 to 2013, claimed that while working there, TNA took withholding from his check that was supposed to go to the government, but then claimed TNA never paid the government, and the withholding and the IRS came after him for about $10,000 owed. Ooh. So Bruce Pritchard's involved in this, which he was able to prove he had taken out, and the government was satisfied. So he got out of that.
I heard something about Hogan's, they had to, they did something about Hogan's money involved when he was in TNA. I heard something about that as well.
I didn't. What was the report you heard?
There was something about Hogan. There's something about Hulk Hogan and money. It was. I guess Hogan wasn't properly paid or something at TNA. It was. Hogan divided cash. It was something about Hogan wasn't properly paid or something at TNA.
Oh.
Yeah.
Then that's not good.
Another one. Another one. Yeah, that'd be shocking.
The Bank Direct. Oh my God! Just read the Observer. Read the Observer this week. There's two ridiculous stories in there. We'll get to the second one next, but oh my God!
It's amazing. This was amazing. This whole thing was bizarre.
It's bizarre. It's disgusting. It's angering.
It's incredibly shady. It's a whole lot of backroom business deals with Hogan.
With everybody.
Not
just Hogan.
Not just Hogan. Bischoff and Flair, or really anyone that was involved in TNA. There's a whole lot of backwards deals that went down. A whole lot of stuff.
But Spike TV paid for those contracts, so
yeah. So that was okay. But this is a whole lot of chaos and mayhem.
It is chaos. Happened. It is chaos. Any more thoughts?
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
We pretty much covered it all. Now, let's get to the second biggest story of the week. As there were two big stories of the week. FloSlam.
Something happened to do in ring for a change.
No, it doesn't have to do with in ring. It's more out of ring stuff. It's FloSlam.
At least it will positively affect
the in ring. True.
In ring.
True.
Right. Yeah, that's actually what I probably would have should have said there.
So I'm going to read the whole Observer story here. It's shorter than the TNA one, so the announcement of a new pro wrestling streaming service, FloSlam.tv, garnered a lot of attention this past week with the official announcement on 10/24 of its launch. The only announcement as far as content goes at press time was the deal with WWN Live, where FloSlam would be an exclusive distributor of events that from that family of Evolve, Shine, and All Women's Group, Full Impact Pro, as well as WWN Superstar, they usually load a loaded-up independent card over to WrestleMania weekend. Mm-hmm. The first show will be an 11/4 Shine card in Yorba City, followed by Evolve shows on 11/12 and 11/13. The 5-year deal precludes all the WWN family of promotions, which is also rumored to include a new promotion that Gabe Sapolsky would be starting called Styles Clash. It's called Style Clash. built around style versus style matchups. From, among other things, appearing on WWE Network, just as WWE sent out questionnaires talking about including different outside promotions on the network. Evolve, since it has a working agreement with WWE, has figured by many to be the first company, if WWE were to feature live shows from WWE from other promotions, to be involved. The sides have been working together for months, and Evolve contract talent like Tony Nese and Drew Gulak appear regularly on WWE television. William Regal has made appearances on Evolve shows and helped training seminars and either backstage talent giving pointers out on shows. The deal would include the full WWN library of shows of Full Impact Pro, Evolve, Dragon Gate USA, Shine, and WWN Live Super Show. Then it goes on to the card. But that's really the tip on the iceberg based on plans. FloSports is in negotiation with other far more significant deals. The interest is there for similar deals involving every major non-WWE promotion in the world, with the possible exception of TNA because it's such a mess and even can't be 100% ruled out. Obviously, other key groups one would consider to be CMLL, New Japan, AAA, ROH, PWG, Shimmer, House of Hardcore, Pro Wrestling Noah, AAW, DDT, Dragon Gate, Stardom, Progress, ICW, Revolution Pro, and What Culture. Then you have the political implications. Would ROH agree to be on a streaming service that includes Evolve? Or would a potential deal with ROH be worth it? CMLL already has a streaming deal with Claro Straight, with its biggest show of the week on Fridays, as well as for its other major shows on Sundays on Orilla, Mexico, and on Mondays in Puebla. Most of these shows are free for now. New Japan has its own streaming service, and the most valuable promotion to get, since it's generally considered the number 2 promotion in the world and has U.S. television. But it's having its own service already would make it difficult to get together. DDT, Revolution Pro, Stardom, What Culture, and Progress have similar streaming services with monthly subscriptions. PWG, on the other hand, has nothing, but has turned down almost every outside offer, preferring to run its old but successful business model of live shows followed by DVD releases of the shows. There are also fear of changing models would cause companies not allowed their contracted talent to appear on shows and make them appear to be competition. Subscriptions to the service would be $20 a month or $150 a year, which works out to $12.50 a month. But some feeling to have double the pay rate of the WWE network would make it too expensive. That the WWE price point for pro wrestling fans. What makes the story so intriguing is that WWE has partial ownership of FloSports.
So in other words, in a sense, it's almost a backdoor way for WWE to have control of so much more content. Getting back to the story that we did last week or a couple weeks ago about WWE's potential of four-tiered WWE network system, this would be the 4th tier.
Yes.
The last tier would lead to the $15 a month where you get everything from everyone. And as you just nailed it down to the $150 a year thing, $150 a year thing was $15 a month. That's pretty much about it. So, if this is the way WWE would tier it, it's actually kind of a smart deal.
But the WWE ownership stake is an investment, but being silent partners, notable because while WWE has been aware of this for a few weeks, they were not aware until recently that this can change the marketplace in the sense that it can increase the value of rights fees for independent shows.
Right.
FloSports already has similar channels for various sports, including amateur wrestling, gymnastics, softball, boxing, volleyball, grappling, cheerleading, marching bands. So it's a niche thing. FloSports is a niche subscription service for niche sports. That's why it makes independent wrestling make sense.
It does. No, because that's something hardcores follow. and they would cater to people who hardcore follow these things, hardcore follow these items. So that's really smart of FloSports to go after a lot of the, not WWE, but a lot of the other wrestling promotions, and really kind of cater to them. So that's really smart of them to do this. Apparently, it's available on their own app and the
Apple TV and Roku.
Roku and Apple TV. So it's actually pretty convenient. You can obviously probably watch it online too. Yeah.
A key of where this can be a game changer is per show guarantees that can be offered to independent promotions that, in some cases, can greatly increase their revenue, doubling it or more, which enables them to pay higher for talent and get better talent. It can be up the price for name wrestlers who are working on the indie circuit, and for top indie talent on the way up, it can create a stronger indie side where they can earn more and work on their own schedule with more creative freedom than going to WWE, or also makes it less frustrating when WWE doesn't believe in guys who see WWE as the only viable way to get a great living in the business.
Right.
But
so it's a smart way to do it. I think it's a very creative way to figure this out.
And it goes on about the other subscription services, similarly priced to the WWE Network at $9.99 a month. And being available on these streaming platforms would give them an advantage. So I'm not reading verbatim anymore. I just wanted you to get the gist of this story, and yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah. It makes. There's a lot of ways this can go. I think it's going to make for a very intriguing times going forward as far as how that goes down.
Yes. WWE's holding Hell in a Cell on October 30th, the night before Halloween.
The night before Mischief Night. So that's going to be the.
I'll have the Eagles Cowboys on one screen and the. You guys
on the other, the triple main event on the other. So really, what happened on Raw? What happened on Raw here? Raw ended up jumping off with. Let's see, Rollins stealing the list of Jericho. Who would have thought Chris Jericho? A lot of people are arguing on the internet that Chris Jericho's the MVP since the brand extension on Raw.
I agree. It's not even close.
Yeah,
it's backfired on Kevin Owens. It's backfired.
Yeah, Chris Jericho's become the MVP because of his antics, the gifts of Jericho, the list of Jericho, where he continues. This is what makes Chris Jericho so great. The fact that he continues to reinvent himself and reinvent his gimmicks and reinvent his wordplay throughout his entire career. That's what makes Chris Jericho stay new and stay relevant. And that's what makes him so good. So Raw kicked off with Jericho complaining about not having a list of Jericho and about it being part of his life's work. And he refused to wrestle until the list of Jericho was returned to him. This brought out Kevin Owens, this brought out Stephanie McMahon, and everybody is figuring out what this list was. This brought out the Rollins to the energy, started to help this Jericho, and learning to look at the Ambrose.
You're breaking up.
I think Rollins kind of learned a little bit from Dean Ambrose on how to troll, which I thought was a good look. I thought it was a very.
I thought this edition of Raw was bad. I thought it was bad.
Yeah, no. There were some good aspects to Raw, but yeah, you're right. As a show, as an entire show, the sum of its parts did not equal the whole.
I thought the segment was stupid, and the way they paid it off was stupid. With the Braun Strowman thing, let's just group this all together.
Yeah, I didn't love Strowman being involved in this either. I get it, you want to make Strowman relevant, but that wasn't the way to do it. And then Strowman got put on the list because he had the list of Jericho. But it was kind of weird.
And then Vince getting pissed off about the Brock's hometown crowd cheering for Brock Lesnar. What the hell do you expect?
Exactly. That's why Vince complaining. You can't. have your cake and eat it too. This was wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah,
This should have never happened.
This is baffling.
This should have never happened in Minneapolis.
And
what do you think was going to happen?
And they did. We're talking the main points of Raw. We covered the Jericho thing. This is the second main point, and then the Foley promo, which will lead into the story about them going on last. But it's the Brock thing. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that was too easy. That was way too easy. It was low-hanging fruit. Of course, Lesnar was going to get cheered in Minneapolis. It's like Heyman had the Viking colored tie, and Lesnar had the Suplex City and the Minnesota Vikings colors. Come on,
Heyman's promo sucked.
Heyman's promo was pretty bad. This was too easy. This was way too easy.
But Heyman's promo could be bad because they ate up everything.
Yeah, they had. Heyman tried to be heel. He tried to go the heel route. He tried to. It had no shot of working because it was in Minneapolis. This wasn't like the Undertaker thing, where it was easy to play Undertaker as the heel in that situation. This is entirely different. Lesnar's the heel, Goldberg's the face. This is entirely different. This should have been done. Like, if Raw was going to Atlanta, that would have been perfect. So they can play to the Atlanta crowd and get the instant natural heat from that crowd. This is a bad idea to have Lesnar in Minneapolis. I get it, it's his hometown, but it was a bad idea to have him in Minneapolis.
People were there to see him.
Yeah, they were there to see Brock. It was
because nothing else on Raw was relevant besides the triple threat.
The triple threat and the contract signing, I thought that was really good.
We don't need to mention anything else, I don't think.
Pretty much, yeah. Nothing else is true.
Yeah,
nothing else is.
I'm trying to shorten up the recap stuff because I'm like, we don't have to recap everything.
Nothing else is that productive. No, in this case, yeah, I think it's fair to. Nothing else is that productive this week on Raw.
No, it was bad. It was.
Yeah.
I was watching this show. I was looking at my phone half the time to see what Twitter commented on.
Here's the thing. It wasn't very good. So after the other thing that happened, the contract signing, and I thought Foley's role in this as conscience, I thought was gold.
But the problem is Hell in a Cell doesn't mean anything anymore.
Where do you think it lost its meaning?
10 years ago.
Wow.
10?
That long?
Yep. Because they're doing it twice, 3 times a year for the past 10 years. That match should be a once every 2-year match where a feud's so great and so heated that
it belongs there.
It belongs in Hell in a Cell. Not every feud belongs in Hell in a Cell.
I agree.
And that's why it killed it. Because the overdoneness of Hell in a Cell. We have had 3 to 4 Hell in a Cell matches over the past, since 2009.
Last year, I think we only had 2.
Yeah, but we had the Hell in a Cell at Mania.
Not last year.
No.
31? No, we didn't.
No, we had multiple Hell in a Cell. My point is, we have multiple Hell in a Cell matches in a year.
Yeah, true. It should only, I think Charlotte and Sasha of the 3 matches is the only one that's worthy of that structure. I will buy that because I think that rivalry. They've had such good matches and they've had really good matches and they've had really good flows and like everything they've done has been with meaning and with chemistry, and it all works. That would have worked. I would have had no problem with Kevin Owens inside the cell if Sami Zayn were the opponent. I would have been perfectly content with that.
But Sami Zayn's facing Braun Strowman.
Rollins and Reigns. But they put Zayn with Strowman or Rollins with Reigns. I'd have been content with that too. But they messed up the 2 men's matches. The women match was fun. I think it's going to be fine. I think we'll do just fine. But I can agree with you.
But they're billing it as a triple main event, which gets me to the next major story in The Observer.
Okay.
WWE is pushing Hell in a Cell as a triple main event with 3 cell matches. Kevin Owens versus Rollins for the Universal, Roman Reigns and Rusev for the US, and Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair for the women's title. But there's only one match that is the real main event and only should go on last. There has been a lot of discussion, that includes internally, regarding the idea of putting the women on last.
And they should be.
The argument in favor it hasn't been done. It's different. It comes across as progressive. Plus, it's in Boston, and Banks is from Boston, meaning that with exception of the match actually being with Charlotte, this is the best opportunity to get over in the final spot of anywhere. The last time a women's match main evented was in WWE was the
Bayley and Sasha.
No, the Wendy Richter Fabulous Move that had this much build. That had this much build.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's fine.
The war to settle the score, but Hogan and Valentine went on last.
Right.
It is also should be noted that things go in cycle as in the 30s, 40s, and early 50s. Women's matches frequently headlined over the men in major city, and even later into the 50s, it actually happened. Although far less frequently, in the golden age of wrestling died out in the early 50s.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably thinking the next argument, it's time WWE to do the same thing on Sunday. He mentions like the Ronda Rousey and Liz Carmouche fight did 500,000 buys in the UFC's first women's main event.
Okay.
So well, it's time, but not on Sunday. Internally, this is a big issue. The creative team is largely united in the belief of putting Banks versus Charlotte to go on last to make a point that women can be the real main event, which they are in this case. And doing so will elevate the standing of women's wrestling in the company, and of Banks and Charlotte in particular. The description was that this is still in Vince's sandbox. Good Lord.
Yeah.
It's likely not to happen.
Yeah, I think it's going to go with Rollins and Owens, and it'll be a bad idea.
Because if they go on later in the show, people are going to leave. Or hijack the show.
Let's face it, this is made for Sasha Charlotte to go last. You just outlined the major points. It's the best way to get Charlotte over as a heel. It's the best way to put Sasha on as a face. It all makes sense. It makes too much sense not to do. This is the way to take the easy way out. But it's the smartest way out. You put those two. You put the women on last, and you let them go to work and see how well they can use the sell. Which brings it back to the contract.
Now let me go. Now let me read the rest of the story before we get to the contract signing. The way we're told that is that Paul Levesque has backed Triple H has backed the creative team on this idea, but Vince is digging his heels on this one, and it's led to a lot of frustration. As of Tuesday, the odds were against it happening, but Vince does change his mind and nothing is final. An actual quote from someone in the process on this is, and I will leave you with this line going into the contract signing, and what everyone needs to understand that there's no one who understands the outside less than the man who makes all the decisions. We just have to find a respectful way to change his mind.
I thought
that was the most profound line in the whole thing.
That says a lot. No, that one line, it really was. That says a lot. It really does. So, I think, I really do show to the thing that they're going to put Owens and Rollins on last, and it'll be a bad idea. Not to say Owens and Rollins can't be creative.
The second best thing is they could put it on first and make fans stay for the rest.
Yeah, do what SmackDown did. I'd be cool with that.
Yes.
I'd be perfectly fine with that.
The main event is still to be determined. So contract signing.
Getting back to it with the contract signing, Foley playing the role of conscience, I thought was gold. I really enjoyed that. Where Foley, as Sasha and Charlotte played the young, eager, hungry competitors, thinking, okay, I'm going to dive into anything. Like I can do anything. I'm super women here, and like it's going to be easy. Like we're going to be all right. Foley kind of bringing up his own past, kind of really set the stage perfectly. Of, are you really sure you want to go this route? Are you really sure that's the route? That's where you want to take this? And bringing about the trepidation and the looks on Sasha, on Charlotte. and especially Sasha's face, I think totally sold it as, okay, maybe we don't know exactly what we've gotten ourselves into. I think that's the thing that Foley was trying to say. I think it set the scene tremendously for what's going to happen this Sunday in Boston. I think it was a really well done piece, similar to how Foley did Rollins and Ambrose. Remember that one? Foley did Rollins and Ambrose's thing before their match in the Hell in a Cell. I think it was similar to that, and I think that worked out just fine. So I really like what Foley did there. I think it was a really good setup leading to their showdown in B-Town.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this should main event. It's the right move. I think Vince is digging at his heels because he knows he's wrong.
He's stubborn. We know Vince. But what have we learned from Vince over the last 30 years? Dude is stubborn. He's completely stubborn. Like, it's his way or the highway. His way works. There are times his way works. There are times his way doesn't. His way wouldn't work in this situation. He needs to listen to Hunter and go with the women last.
Yes. So we have that. So let's predict Hell in a Cell.
Yep. So,
first match is Cedric Alexander, Lindsay Dorado, and Team Carter versus Tony Nese, Drew Gulak, and Arya Daivari in the pre-show.
The faces have pretty much won at every turn in this situation. Though I do like Nese and Gulak. I'm going to go with the faces.
I think Nese and Gulak lose because of the whole thing.
Yeah. The faces have pretty much won at every turn unless Kendrick's involved. So I'm going to go with we'll go with Sin Cara, Seti, and Swan.
Bayley versus Dana Brooke. Now 1 to 10 on the interest game, too. 1 to 10 on the interest game, 1 to 10.
The Cruiserweight match is probably a 7 because of how the aerial game that all 6 guys can do. So probably a 7 on the Cruiserweight.
Casual fan interest is like a 2. For me, interest is like a 7. Because the casual fans don't care about the Cruiserweights.
Right. Let's see here. Bayley and Dana Brooke.
I'm at a 3.
Yeah, 3 or 4. I was going 4 for me.
That whole angle was awful on Monday.
It really was. They tried to play it all as Dana beating Bayley.
You think Bayley? You think at the beginning of the year, she's going to get called up to rolling. One of her segments is going to get bull crap chance, and this is boring chance. Yeah. None of that would have been predicted at the beginning of the year, my friend.
I don't think it's Bayley's fault.
No, it's not Bayley's fault. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
Right, true. That anything to do with Bayley
making
would be
point.
Yeah, no, anything to do with Bayley would be boring, which we would have never seen coming. Clearly, they're slow playing Bayley and almost stalling to get to the Royal Rumble. Yeah, because Sasha and Charlotte's thing has to finish before they can move Bayley forward, and for that matter, probably for Survivor Series. I'm about a 3 on this. 3 or 4 is about right for me. I'll go 4 on this. I expect Bayley to win, and then finally, once and for all, end this thing with Dana. And then prepare for all parties involved. Prepare for Survivor Series and the women's tag.
Enzo and Big Cass versus Guns and Gallows. What a disaster Guns and Gallows has been.
Yeah, you can. It's a perfect example. It's Cesaro and Sheamus being a team at all. This has not worked out for Guns and Gallows in the least. I expect Enzo and Cass to get the tag team win here. Yeah. The match itself, I think, will actually be pretty good. So I'm gonna go 7 on the interest level. I actually think the match will be pretty good.
I'll go 5.
I think Enzo and Cass get the dub.
New Day versus Cesaro and Sheamus. I'm at a 2. I'm at a 2.
I know Cesaro and Sheamus won the match on Raw, but I think it's kind of to hold them over to maybe think maybe they got a shot here. They really don't. New Day hasn't lost to a constructive tag team in over 420 days, about 430 days.
Who the hell are going to take the belts off of them?
That's the question.
They're not a hot act anymore. They are not.
But there's nobody good enough to beat them.
Nobody good enough to beat them, but they're not a hot act anymore. I can firmly say that. It's gotten stale, my friend. It's time. I'm predicting Cesaro and Sheamus win here because they love doing the disgruntled tag team partner thing?
Team Hell No, yeah.
Yeah, I think they love doing that, so I think Cesaro and Sheamus win. But my interest level is a 3. The match will be good, but I don't care.
I'm probably neutral, about a 5. I think they'll have a better version of what they did on Raw. The Raw match was pretty good. I think New Day retains. I think Cesaro and Sheamus have too much beef to win the tag titles.
But you would say that about John Cena and Batista. You would say that about Kane and Daniel Bryan.
Well, Cena and Batista did win, but then lost them immediately back. So
yeah, you can do that here. You can do that. The tag belts don't mean crap.
At least not yet. At least until they unify them.
TJ Perkins and Brian Kendrick. I'm at a 6.
6 is about right. They'll have a good match, similar to Clash of Champions. I would expect Perkins to retain. We'll get to more Perkins when we get to the NXT. I think they'll have another good match. Let's see that they have obviously good chemistry together based on how Perkins kind of learned from the Kendrick tree.
But the story, I'm at like a 3, honestly.
Yeah, the story has gone nowhere, but the matches have been good. So I will go Perkins to retain.
Yeah, but no one cares about TJ Perkins. It's sad. It's sad. You can hear people's conversations when he enters.
Yeah, the Cruiserweight division has not hit the ground running like it should have on Raw.
Because it's on Raw, basically.
Something you think it needs to be on SmackDown.
Yes, desperately.
But you can't get SmackDown everything. So that's my...
No, SmackDown has absolutely little. They have...
But they're still killing Raw in ratings.
Yeah, they've been averaging more. Even though Raw's beating them in the ratings, SmackDown has actually gone up in viewership this year.
True.
I was doing some research, actually. They were averaging a 1.68 last year, and this year they're averaging a 1.72, which is a 2.38% jump.
I would argue part of that's moving to USA.
Yeah.
Instead of having it on Sci-Fi.
Yeah, but Raw has decreased 12.5% from 2.64 to 2.37. Yeah, Explain that to me. Explain that.
Yeah. Raw's product has had a lot of misses this year.
And the thing is, you can't blame the NFL. I'm going to say this. No. You can't blame the NFL because the NFL is getting lower TV ratings too. You can't blame presidential debates because the debates were getting lower ratings because they're all streaming.
Yeah.
Like, Raw probably on Hulu gets 1 million views a week.
Mm-hmm.
I would think so from the people who subscribe to Hulu.
You would think.
And on the YouTube page, let's see what a high viewed YouTube video gets with WWE. It's in the millions.
Probably.
It's more than the viewers that they have.
Well, yeah, it's like, okay, what should they rather do? Rather review a show for 3 hours?
They have 13 million. They have 13,024,755 subscribers on YouTube.
Exactly. So what do you think people would rather do? They rather
watch it when they want to.
Yeah, exactly. They'd much rather watch something for 5 minutes as opposed to watch a show for 3 hours. It makes a whole lot more sense.
All right, so the triple threat got 900. The clipped triple threat got 969,975 viewers. Okay. The Brock Lesnar and Goldberg segment got 1.3 million views. The women's championship thing got 482,000 views. Most watched Hell in a Cell videos. Shane McMahon and Undertaker has gotten 8 million views.
Which makes sense considering Shane's leap off the cell.
Yeah, they showed the whole leap.
Right.
So an average Raw gets averagely about 700,000 views on YouTube if you add up all the clips.
You would think WWE would try to have Raw on their network and have it stream on their network.
No, it's because of their TV deal.
But the TV deal with USA kind of, yeah, you're right. The TV deal with USA kind of destroys that.
And when that TV rights fees deal comes up in 2019, I believe, it was signed in 2014, it was a 5-year deal. And their TV rights fees are going up. That's the strange thing. Their TV rights fees are through the roof right now, and they can't produce ratings. People say ratings don't matter, but
they absolutely do.
They absolutely do because of the TV rights fees.
Yep.
Because they're getting good revenue from the network, actually.
Sure. Yeah, sure are.
They're getting double the ones that they were getting with pay-per-views when they were still running pay-per-views. They were getting about 2011's number was $80 million in pay-per-view revenue. 2016, it's up to $159 million. That's double.
Well, yeah. Well, think about it. As opposed to you're paying $60 for a pay-per-view versus paying $10.
Yeah.
Plus all the other content. That was an easy decision for many people to make.
Yeah, and that's why this Evolve thing will work in America.
Yes, sure will.
It didn't work in Japan with New Japan World because there were more people. Because somebody actually mentioned this on Observer Radio. There were more people. Alvarez mentioned this. There are more people who actually bought the live pay-per-views for New Japan than actually subscribed to New Japan World.
There you have it.
So
let's see. What was next?
And WWE did release their third quarter earnings today. So WWE third quarter results. Yep, here we go. Third quarter numbers. You continue.
Okay. So next up was the did we miss anything other than the 3 cell matches? I think we
no, we have 3 cell matches. Let's go Roman Reigns Rusev first.
This is the second most interesting to me. So I'm probably an 8 on this one because I think the match itself will be good. I expect Roman to retain. I expect this to be the most creative with the cell. I think the Rusev fits Hell in a Cell structure. I don't know if this rivalry fits, but I do think this Rusev is one of the guys that can thrive inside Hell in a Cell. I think he can be very useful considering how violent he is, how barbaric he can be. I do think Roman retains. I think it's going to be a very good match. I think it's going to be a pretty entertaining match.
Yeah. So that I think that will be I'm at a 6 on it.
Okay. Then we get to
Rollins.
Do the
Rollins
Owens.
Let's do the women's match last. Let's give it.
Yeah. It should get that just due. I'm probably a 5 on this, and it's
I'm at a 3. I'm actually gonna be bold. I'm at a 0. I don't care. I don't care.
Oh.
I really don't care.
Because even with Owens' actions on Raw after the triple threat, which really was a handicap match, where basically Rollins fought them both and then pinned them both. Owens powerbombed them under the.
Hello?
Hello?
Yo, I can hear you.
Yeah, I expect Owens to retain. I would expect Rollins and Owens to use the cell well, but
I don't care. I don't care about this title. I don't.
It's good.
It's not good.
But we do that from the rip. This wasn't going to be good.
It's going to be a good match, but I don't care about the story.
Pretty much.
Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. This should be the real main event.
It should be, and I'm probably at 9, maybe 9.5. I don't know how we're going to use the cell. That's my one drawback of thinking this is a 10.
This is a 10 for me.
I don't know how it's going to be. I think they're going to really tear the house down. I really do. They've learned how to tell outstanding stories with each other. They've had some very good matches. I expect Sasha to retain. I expect this is all-time work from Charlotte as a heel. I think this is going to be a tremendous match from start to finish. It'll be captivating television.
We actually do have a network number from the third quarter report.
Okay.
They have averaged over 1.46 million average paid subscriber in the third quarter, which actually held well from WrestleMania.
Yeah, no,
which was 1.74, I believe.
Right, yeah,
million.
they've been consistently anywhere from 1.3 to 1.7.
No, it was 1.47 million. Yeah, it was 1.47 million. It held stagnant, which is really good.
That's pretty good. That's a good draw. Plus, you get Goldberg and Lesnar, which is the worst kept secret in the history of the wrestling world. That'll obviously made him at the show. We'll keep moving.
Yeah.
Which will obviously bias because of Goldberg and Lesnar, and the fact that Goldberg is back on for one more match, it obviously gets him more buys. So
yeah, I think they're gonna stay stagnant at that 1.5 million, which is really good.
Anywhere from 1.3 to 1.5 is good. Anywhere from 1.3 to 1.7 is pretty much where we're going to be here for WWE Network.
And another interesting, NBC Universal secured 50 new blue-chip advertisers for WWE in a 2-year period. Which advertisers have increased. I don't know why, but because the ratings have been in the toilet.
Well, NBC has done many events for WWE over the last couple of years. They did the WrestleMania things. They've done the tribute to the Shrooms. They've done a bunch of stuff. And obviously, USA is part of the NBC network, is part of the NBC family. So it makes sense for them to advertise WWE at points in time.
Now we get to some news and notes here.
You want to do SmackDown NXT?
Let's do SmackDown NXT and then news and notes.
Yeah. So SmackDown was actually pretty solid this week. Let's see, Bray versus Cage started the show. No disqualification match. A little bit of Harper was involved, but not too much. But then we got Randy Orton involved, which I thought Orton was going to come after the Wyatt. Instead, he RKO'd Cage. So Bray wins because of Orton. And then looked like Orton joined the Wyatts. With screams of Daniel Bryan a couple years ago. But whether Bray will fall for this again, we'll see. I would imagine he won't. I have to think he's smarter than that. But we'll see how this goes if Orton's really going to join the Wyatts. Let's see here.
AJ threatened Ellsworth.
AJ threatened Ellsworth. He threatened to rip him apart. As Dean versus AJ was the main event. If Dean won, you get a shot at AJ's title again. So, and Ellsworth was kind of pleading with Ambrose that he wanted to be in his corner and help him out after all the help that Ambrose was giving him over the last couple weeks. So I think that was kind of smart of him to try to do that. It led to next thing that really happened in the ring. Becky Lynch's promo led to Alexa Bliss attack. As Alexa continues to try to build momentum for the showdown in less than 2 weeks in Glasgow for the women's title, and it left a yellow streak NWO style on Becky's back. So I like where Alexa's going with this. Alexa's really embraced her full-on heel mode since coming up to the main roster. There's some energy to Alexa as a heel. I keep going with it. I like it.
Hype Bros defeated Ascension.
Ascension looked solid at the start of the match. The Hype Bros closed. Those are Rowley's hot tags are becoming very good. He's become very solid after the hot tag. He closes well. Not quite big cast level, but he closes really well. And they would hit the Hype Rider and finish the job. So the Hype Bros are going to be a part of the Survivor Series team. Shout out to Mojo for the Zuba stuff, though. Shout out to Mojo for that. As one who owns a couple Zubas, I respect it. I respect the Zuba game. He used to play for the Packers, so it actually made a lot of sense. Nikki, speaking of Survivor Series, Natalia's been pining to get on the team for a while now, but she, for now, will not be there, as Nikki won the match to become the captain of the women's team for SmackDown, and they got immediately jumped by Carmella.
Yeah.
Whether Carmella will be on the team for Survivor Series, we'll see, but that's going to be a very interesting dynamic going forward with some of these teams and the women, and then sooner or later the men, as we start to figure out who's going to be on what team for Survivor Series. Miz pretty much outsmarted Slater and Rhino into a tag team title match with the Spirit Squad, but it ended pretty much very predictably with Rhino finishing the job, goring, I think it was Mikey, to get the win and retain the titles. keeping Slater and Rhino as the captain of the tag team division for SmackDown, as they already have the Hype Bros as teammates for the 5-on-5 team edition, or 10-on-10, if you will, team edition of the match. We saw, that was it. And then we saw the match with AJ and Dean, which was very productive. Ellsworth did get out there thanks to Ambrose. Ellsworth, obviously, the crowd loves him. As JBL and Otunga continue to troll him and take shots at him. Let's face it, he does have no chin. And instead, he would kick AJ in his after AJ continued to bully him on ringside. Fortunately, the ref saw all of it. And
Hello?
Yep.
Sorry.
So AJ wins. Ambrose not number one contender. And then Daniel Bryan kind of told a semi-warning story for Ellsworth on Talking Smack this week. I know Daniel Bryan probably said one of Daniel Bryan's last independent battles was with Ambrose. And Ambrose did not have an axe to grind with Daniel Bryan, but proceeded to beat him to a bloody pulp. He's probably got an axe to grind with Ellsworth. Ellsworth kind of realizes this is going to end horribly for him. And this is pretty much going to be doomed for Ellsworth, and I think we all understand this ends painfully for James Ellsworth.
But this Ellsworth storyline is awesome. It is.
Oh yeah, I love this. I love this storyline. I like it. Ellsworth has been great. I've really enjoyed Ellsworth involved in this. This time it's AJ getting the better of it, but I really have enjoyed Ellsworth doing his thing in this situation. I really have enjoyed it. Now to NXT. NXT would probably start with some more Dusty Rhodes Invitational. It was
DIY versus Ben Wong and Ho Ho Lung.
Yep. Ben Wong wasn't bad. I like his mix of size and speed. Obviously, in time, he'll have more time to show himself in a one-on-one situation. But I like what he can do. I like what he's got going on. I think he's got something. He's got a future. In the end, it was Hollywood, meaning Gargano kicking from the west and Ciampa from the east. This ended horribly. They move on to face the Revival in what will be a classic. I'm sure in a couple of weeks in the Dusty Rhodes tournament. Let's see. We saw Aaliyah beat Billie Kay, but this wasn't about the match. This is about Liv Morgan getting some payback. She got even with Peyton Royce, and it jumped Peyton Royce a little bit, was causing a distraction, and then rolled by Aaliyah to get the win. But then the Australians proceeded to dominate the post-match situation. They gave 2-on-1 until Aaliyah came back to the ring and tried to fight with Billie Kay. Not with Billie Kay, just try to fight with Liv Morgan, but it did not work out, as the Australians would do work and pretty much leave both Aaliyah and Morgan laid out. Let's see. Ty Dillinger won his match rather quickly, but this, again, wasn't about the match. This is about Bobby Roode getting even for the post-match attack Dillinger had last week. Roode got even, and they got to DDT Dillinger on the stage, leaving Dillinger laying. So they got their match between the Canadians in Toronto. We saw Asuka destroy
Trinidad, a.k.a. Austin Aries' wife.
Yep, we saw that happen rather quickly. Kind of, she liked longer to live. But it was still and then Asuka received her latest challenge, which turned out to be the rumors were true. Mickie James is returning. Mickie James will fight Asuka for the NXT Women's Championship in Toronto. Now, there's actually a little bit of a backstory to this. It was supposed to be Trish Stratus. And the only reason why it's not is because Trish actually got pregnant. So, it was going to be Trish Stratus and the ability to say, okay, we're going to turn Asuka full-on heel and have her destroy Trish Stratus in Toronto, obviously Trish's hometown. It would make perfect sense. But if this were ever a plan B, this is a pretty good plan B to have. So, it's going to be Mickie James versus Asuka in Toronto. That's why it went down this way. In between, Joe did an interview about how he thinks he's in the champion, about Shinsuke's head, and about he thinks he's in Shinsuke's head, but obviously more will happen. No physicality happened between Joe and Shinsuke this week, so we'll keep moving on to the main event, which is Perkins and Ibushi versus Lince Dorado and Mustafa Ali. It was a good tag match.
Yeah, it was.
It really was a good tag match between the 4 cruiserweights. They really, all 4 of them seemed to have really good chemistry with each other. But in the end, it was Perkins making Ali tap out to the knee bar. It was a very productive match as we get closer to the semis. We get to the quarterfinals now that the round of 16 is up. And Perkins and Ibushi, who are they facing? They're not getting Offensive Pain. Offensive Pain are facing Swan and Alexander. Offensive Pain against Swan and Alexander. DIY facing Revival. Oh, they're facing Sanity. That's 3. I'm trying to remember the 4th one. No, actually, there's 8. There's 8. We're in the quarterfinals. But I'm trying to remember the bracket. But it's a. But that's really the synopsis of NXT.
Offensive Pain versus No Way Jose and Rich Swan. TM61 versus Aries and Strong.
Yeah, who's what?
Aries and Strong versus.
They're facing Aries and Strong. Okay, that'd be a good match too. Aries and Strong versus Perkins and Ibushi. That should be a pretty good match.
No, Sanity won at the tapings.
That's right. Sanity won. Oh, between
Ibushi and Perkins.
Yeah, versus Ibushi and Perkins. Would you probably expect tag teams to kind of take over this one? To kind of take over this.
I think Aries and Strong beat TM61, but that's going to be an incredible match.
Ooh, that's a hot one. Yeah, I agree too. They're going to keep Roddy strong. They're going to keep Roddy strong, no pun intended. I think that's going to be the. That's going to be a good match. It's going to be pretty entertaining. And then Offensive Pain versus Alexander and Swan. And then the Revival versus DIY is probably the most anticipated of the quarterfinal matchups. That's easily the most anticipated of this round's matchups. Because you want to see can the Revival keep going as tag team champions. I think this is the round the Von Finley lost in last year. Was the next was this round. I think they lost in this round last year to the Revival, which ironically started their run as best tag team in NXT.
DIY won by forfeit, by the way.
Oh, that seems about right.
Sorry for spoiling NXT for you, but we can. I don't give a crap.
So there you have it. So there you have it. That's really NXT, which has been a productive NXT.
So we have some news and notes from Pro Wrestling Noah, All Japan, New Japan, other Japan notes, and here and there, and WWE and Lucha Underground. So we'll start with Pro Wrestling Noah. Well, actually, we'll start with All Japan. They ran their Sumo Hall show on 11/27 with Miyahara and Suwama for the Triple Crown. They're going to be running Sumo Hall on the 27th of November with Kento Miyahara and Suwama for the Triple Crown. Daisuke Sekimoto and Yuichi Okabayashi defending their World Tag Team titles against Zeus and the Bodyguard. The All Asia Tag Team titles would be Aoki and Sato versus Atsushi Onita and Masafuchi. Soma Tako defending the junior title against Kensuke Ishii. And Yohei Nakajima will face Yuro Kuroso for the Wrestle One TV title. Plus a Legends match with Dory Funk Jr., who is 70. Who's over 70, Chavo Guerrero Sr. and Tajiri versus the Great Kabuki, Osamu Nishimura and Yataku Yoshi and Asami Kodaka. And Tajiri's in that match too.
Who would have thought Tajiri would be the youngest member of his team?
Yeah, Tajiri is the youngest member of his team, unless Dragon's a little younger.
What? I think Tajiri's 46.
How old is the Ultimo Dragon?
I thought Ultimo Dragon was in his 50s.
We all know Chavo Sr. is Almost Dragon's 49. So Tajiri is the youngest member on his team. Great Kabuki is 68. Dory Funk Jr. Dory Funk Jr. is 75, and he's still wrestling.
Ooh.
My God.
Jeez.
And yeah. And Joe Doring's slated to make his return. Basically, will be coming to the show and cutting a promo on his update. He had diagnosed with brain cancer. Shout out to Joe Doring.
Yeah, I hope he gets better with that one, you know?
Yes. Now to Pro Wrestling Noah. They had one of their big shows. I can hear myself through your phone.
Should I turn it down?
Yeah, turn it down.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear myself. Now I can't, so that's good. Okay. Kazuhiko Nakajima beat Takashi Sugiura on 10/23 before 2,140 fans in Yokohama for the GHC heavyweight title. It went 33-45. They're saying that Nakajima will be on the Dome show facing Yuji Nagata for the Noah GHC heavyweight championship, which is likely to happen. And then he pointed out that all three major champions are in their 20s, but he said he wanted to face them both and promised to beat them both. He called out Kento Miyahara and Kazuchika Okada at the end of the match.
That'd be interesting.
Marufuji and Yano defeated Great Bash Heel in 21-21. Shibata pinned Goat Shiozaki, and Shiozaki was demanding a rematch so he could also take place at the Dome. My thought is, if they were going with the Dome match, Shiozaki would win here. Atsushi Katoge defeat Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Taichi tried to help Kanemaru, but to no avail. Daisuke Harada came out to challenge Katoge after the match. Jado and Gato defeated Kano and Ohara. And Minoru Suzuki pinned Kiyomiya with a Gotch pile driver. And then the New Japan guys worked a couple shows as well. So, and their Global Week is coming up. Noah's Global Week is coming up, and they have announced the lineup, which is Noah's version of G1.
Mm-hmm.
So in A block, it's Nakajima, Maybach Taniguchi, Akoshi Saito, Quiet Storm, Toru Yano, Minoru Suzuki, Takeshi Iizuka, and Lance Archer. The B block is Muhammad Yone, Marufuji, Shiozaki, Kiyomiya, Takashi Sugiura, Davey Boy Smith Jr., and Alejandro Sayas from the Cruiserweight Classic. New Japan.
Pretty good. That was Davey Boy Smith, B.D.H. Smith. I remember him from.
Yeah. Speaking of Davey Boy Smith Jr., Lance Archer, and Minoru Suzuki, the time bomb that will go off on the Power Struggle show is probably them.
Yep.
That's what Meltzer's reporting. The Power Struggle show on 11/5 is reportedly sold out in Edison Arena, which isn't that big, but still based on two matches. Jay Lethal and Tetsuya Naito, and Hiroshi Tanahashi and Seiya Sanada. Since Lethal isn't over in Japan, this is the weakest marquee event on a big show I can recall. Even though the sellout's being credited, LIJ is in 4 singles matches, 2 listed, plus Shibata versus Evil and Bushi versus Kushida. But I think that's more Tanahashi's doing than... And the draw of Naito as well.
Tanahashi's been in the race for years, so his name carries that weight.
The semifinals for the Junior League is ACH and Ishimori versus Ricochet and Finley, and Fuego and Taguchi versus Romero and Beretta. And that's happening on 10:30. I do want to, and Dave wrote this. I do want to emotion that on the 10/21 show there was a Nakanishi and Yoshitatsu versus Yujiro Takahashi and Bone Soldier match that was among the worst major promotion matches of the year. It was pretty awful. in pretty much every single way, from bad wrestling, no heat, and to a bad finish.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Scott Norton, 55, is teasing a return for the Dome in that New Japan Royal Rumble. And that's New Japan for us. And before I want to go, the Rev Pro Global War shows. Oh my God. Have you seen some of these matches?
I don't believe so.
No, like the announcement of the matches.
Oh, the announcement.
So, Global Wars Night 1. So, with Global Wars Night 1. Oh. Where is it? The match listings.
Global Wars 2016. I might have them here. Production.
No, that's Ring of Honor.
Yeah, that is ROH. That is, that's ROH.
Rev Pro. They also call it Global Wars UK, so that's why. Oh, here we go. Rev Pro Global Wars UK, Revolution Pro Wrestling. There's.
Global Wars UK Night 1. I think I'm there too.
I'm at Cage Match. I'm trying to look at the latest.
Yeah, so apparently Night 1 and Night 2, we got November 10, and Nathaniel Green, and Walt Hemstyle.
I found it.
That's Armistice Day.
Oh, that's probably from last year. So, here it is. So, Night 1, you have Bushi versus Will Ospreay. Good match to start.
That's one way to start it, yeah.
Then we have this little ditty of the match. Chris Hero versus Tomohiro Ishii.
Well, that's going to be interesting. The physicality both guys can bring, that's going to be a very intriguing match right there.
We have Los Ingobernables de Japón, Evil, Sonata, and Tetsuya Naito versus Mustache Mountain of Trent Seven and Tyler Bate and Mark Haskins. We have Pete Dunne versus Yuji Nagata.
I like that matchup. Pete Dunne's very physical. I think Nagata can bring that physicality. I like that matchup.
Liger versus Skrull. Can we imagine the antics?
That is a great way to put Skrull over. That is a great way to do it with Marty Skrull. I like that for Marty.
Yeah.
It worked for Hero. I think it'll work for Marty just as well. I think that's a really good way to put him over.
And then your main event, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Katsuyori Shibata in a rematch.
Okay. Yeah, this is a very good card.
And then, Night 2. This is awesome. We have Jushin Liger versus Will Ospreay.
That's interesting.
Pete Dunne versus Tomohiro Ishii.
Another physical match for Pete Dunne. I like it.
Charlie Garrett and Joel Redmond versus Bushi and Evil of Los Ingobernables. Drew Galloway versus Tomoaki Hanma.
Good way to get Honda over. I like it. I think it works for Honda.
Trent Seven versus Yuji Nagata. Chris Hero versus Katsuyori Shibata. Good Lord.
That's another physical matchup.
Good Lord. Chris Hero's going to have one hell of a weekend.
You're not kidding. I think that's
Ishii and Shibata on the same weekend. Come on.
Yeah, really.
And then your main event, a tag team match, leaders of the new school, Marty Scurll and Zack Sabre Jr. versus Los Ingobernables de Japón, Sonata and Tetsuya Naito. Those cards are great.
Who do you think could have the best weekend of the card?
Hero's gonna kill it.
I'm torn between Hero and Skrull. I think Hero and Skrull, and it maybe as a dark horse Liger. Consider Liger's fighting Ospreay and Skrull this weekend too, for like best weekend. But I think this is I'm torn between Hero and Skrull here. I think this is these are two very good cards.
DDT announced that they will be starting a streaming service. It's called DDT Universe, and it will be at $900 a month. That's $8.63.
Not bad.
And it'll start on January 1st.
Someone getting in the streaming game.
Yep, DDT is getting in on the streaming game. Dynamite. Have you heard about the Dynamite Kid story?
I heard bits and pieces of it.
Like they're trying to raise money to get him back to the UK.
Yeah, I did hear bits and pieces of that. Yeah.
So Bruce Hart was told. I was told that his condition being pretty grave. I'm throwing the gauntlet down to Vince McMahon to endeavor to do something for him. That was what Bruce Hart said. The fundraiser has gained over 2,784 pounds. They were attempting to raise 20,000 pounds, $24,400, and they've raised so far $3,500.
Mm-hmm.
So, WWE, Devon's working for WWE as a producer now. He's not wrestling anymore, even though he has a couple of shows he's wrestling on, just finishing up independent dates, but Devon is working as a producer. Jack Evans got fired from AAA as another disastrous promotion.
Yeah, I did hear about that one. That was
basically for being honest. Basically for being honest.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor, final battle will have Cole versus O'Reilly for the title, and they may make it a three-way, adding Jay Lethal and Bobby Fish versus Dragon Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And more CMLL guys are debuting. Shout out to Punisher Martinez. He signed a contract with Ring of Honor. Monster Factory guy.
Yep, okay.
And then some WWE news before we go home. WrestleMania tickets are going to go on sale on November 18th.
Yep, WrestleMania will be in Orlando next year, at the new version of the Citrus Bowl. So WrestleMania's second time in a span of 8 years that it will be back in Orlando.
And the travel packages will include WrestleMania Fan Access, Hall of Fame, TakeOver, Raw, and SmackDown.
Oh, they're going to hold SmackDown in there in the building too. Okay,
maybe.
All right.
Goldberg versus Lesnar, worst kept secret in the wrestling business, was announced for Survivor Series on Tuesday, not on Monday, which is mind blowing.
Yeah, no, they decided to host it. They in the control room for during SmackDown, right before the Ambrose Styles match. That's when they announced it was the worst. Again, like we mentioned earlier, the worst kept secret in wrestling was the Lesnar Goldberg announcement, which will happen in Toronto at Survivor Series. Yep.
Speaking of Paige, who's throwing her career away, had neck surgery this week.
Yeah. Wow. A career with so much potential and so much promise. She was 21 when she won the title the first time, and she so much potential and promise, and you're right, it's going down the tubes. Apparently, she got engaged with Alberto. I think she asked him to marry him a couple weeks ago, and apparently that's happening. As much as a lot of people in her camp resent him,
yeah,
but it's a mess. It's unfortunate, but it is a mess.
Crazy Barry Dobson, Roderick Strong, Tommy End, and Big Damo were all announced as new new recruiting class for WWE. And it also included a former Miami Dolphins player.
Yeah, I saw that. No, he was part of the real athlete team that faced TM61.
Demetrius Brunson.
Yeah, there's a Dolphins player and a Bucks player. And the Bucks player got heavily booed whenever he was in the ring. They've got a future, both of them. Not just Dolphins guy, Bucks guy too. They've got a future as a team. I hope they stay together as a tag team. they've got something. I think they can really be a very productive squad going forward.
This boggles my mind. There are no plans of bringing Shinsuke Nakamura to the main roster. At least for now, he's pegged to be the flagship show of the NXT brand.
That's why.
I am still mad about that. Listen to last week's show.
I'm angry about that, but NXT needs. They still need that flag bearer, and until they realize they can have another flag bearer after Shinsuke, he's got to stay there. He shouldn't. I agree with you. He should have been up on the roster by now. But they don't have another flag bearer behind him. I think that's the point. If Joe's going to be coming up, they really don't have another flag bearer behind Shinsuke.
And finally,
you have to fight the Rudes and the Roddies and all the other pretty good names on the roster in NXT, but they don't have another guy that can say, "I am the face. I'm the true face of that brand."
Yeah.
After Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe, they don't have that guy, so I think he has to stay there.
And one final note.
Put him up against all the good competition, but he has to stay there until they have another face.
One final note. Alex Riley is now pursuing acting.
Yeah, that's about right. I think that makes a lot of sense, because Alex Riley completely flopped in wrestling. He does have the look of an actor. I will give him that. He has to look for it. I think he can actually succeed as an actor. He does have that kind of look. So I think he'll do well. I think he'll do fine. But as a wrestler, he totally flopped.
Yeah. So that will do it for us.
Yep.
Kugler Gets Raw is in a couple hours. Here from 1 to 2. He'll talk.
So he'll get more in depth with the Hell in a Cell preview than we did. I'm sure he'll talk about having a Raw SmackDown NXT. If you watched all that, he'll get into that. And he'll talk about the Goldberg-Lesnar showdown and how bad of a promo that was for him in Minneapolis. It was wrong place, wrong time for Lesnar to be there. So I think that was the way to describe it. So yeah, so he'll get into all that. Monday Lounge, Inside the Lounge on Monday, we'll talk about obviously the usual stuff, college football. We'll talk about where everyone is in the World Series. This is now 1-1 after the Cubs win last night. The NBA started, and Anthony Davis is still alone. We'll talk about all that good stuff, plus football, and some college football too. Where does Penn State and Ohio State go from here after what happened last week? And will I play the Miami song or the Notre Dame fight song on Monday? We'll get into that because B-Coots, after what I did with Penn State, basically made the agreement and the deal's in place. And Notre Dame Miami, the winning team, gets their fight song played when we get into the college football segment on Monday inside the lounge.
Okay. It is now 11:35 on Montcurry. Thank you for listening. You can follow me on Get in the Ring 123 on Twitter. And thank you for listening. Where you can follow Beast Mike.
Twitter.com/BeastMike. It's an easy, keep it simple way to follow me on Twitter.
All right, it is 11:35 on Monco Radio, where music reminds me.